What a move by the world chess champion. Let's rewind to the starting position here because Gukesh D had the black pieces and his opponent with everything on the back row, as we can see, is Mr. Etienne himself, a former top 10 player, not now at his peak, but still very dangerous. He's kicking off with the king pawn, and Caro, can he do it? Yes, he can. It's Gukesh D, bringing the Gukesh C here, and after d4, d5, we've got a mainline Caro Khan. It's the FIDE Grand Swiss. It just kicked off. They're in Samarkand, big chess centre these days. It's in Uzbekistan, I think, maybe. Someone correct me. But it's over there in Asia. Real great tournament. So many strong players. Let's enjoy this one because Gukesh with black just calmly dismantles Etienne here. Love the dark squared play. First he goes for a kind of London reverse system. Party hat pawn formation. Everyone's having a great time. Bishop e2. Now we see the knight develop here, and after castles h6, the second pony enters the game with an A. Gukesh copying. Of course he's looking for this pawn break soon, but it gets prepared. First knight b3 and g5. Now you don't see that every day in these structures. You weaken the f6 square. Often c5 comes before g5. But played in this order, now the bishop fianchettos onto the chocolate slide, and after rook e1, castles, h3, keeping an eye on the potential pawn push, we get b6 to prepare the thrust in the centre. Bishop e3 stacks those bishops up like a Christmas tree. The rook hits the c file, a5, and here we go. Expanding over there. The a file is now opened in just a jiffy. First the bishop does a little bit of tickle, and now I love this moment. Etienne only goes and sets up a wonderful connect 4. He wins a day out at the tattoo parlour with the world chess champion and Vichy sir. Very fortuitous actually, because he is due to actually tattoo a chess piece on his derriere after losing a bet with David Navarra. All sorts of antics in the chess world that just go unseen. Now we see takes here, and it's really annoying. You want to take with the pawn, but then you run into this move and you're losing a piece by force or your queen. So for that reason, knight takes is played, hits the bishop here, but after it now enters the center, knight d2, it's white just scrambling around a bit. The pawn structure compromised. Gukesh whispering, stack my bishop. The pawn in the centre a bit weak. Now it's very cagey at this point. Middle game shenanigans. They're both level on the clock. The rook now lifting here. What should white do at this moment? Well, thrust with one of these pawns. The whole idea is you want to undermine this structure here as it advanced earlier on. Or you could play like this, let's say. You know, captures, bishop takes, covering the center, bit more dynamic. Possibly an attack could come. But in the game, we saw knight f3. Now it looks really natural because you cover the center, you hit the rook over here, but after it now slides over to the a file, it's black who's actually having some fun. Because if you take there, pawn recaptures, well now you've opened the b file. Pressure is coming, not easy to play b4, and black can really start rotating around to the queen side. The bishops look nice. There could be pressure in the center. If you ever go c4, then takes, you get a nice square. It's good for black. So we see in the game, bishop d4 here, trying to pretend it's a big pawn, but now queen c7, queen e2 over protecting, and takes. The problem now coming with this move and the pin, and it's black winning that a file. The rook slides over to get out of the way of the pin. It was unprotected, but now we see the seahorse spawned, pressuring the bishop. It backs up here, and a deadly invasion from Gukesh on the b. If you try and thrust forward like this, well, knight b3 comes. Not only is this weak, of course, potentially, and you hit this, but you're actually pinning here. It gets very nasty, very uncomfortable. This one could rotate. So let's run back. In the game, we saw knight f1, laterally defending the pawn with the queen there, and after bishop e4, this knight now hits it once more. Bit of further tickle, but the bishop doesn't move this time, the knight rotates. Looking at this spicy meatball, if you now take, well, playable, but then you bring in the pawn even, or you can bring in the knight. For some reason my mouse isn't clicking quite right today, but we're going to crack on with the show. We see knight h5 played in the game. It is a great move because it covers this jump, also hits here, but there's an element of risk. It could get locked out if you're not careful, and we see a kind of zugzwang here on the white pieces. You know, what do you actually move to improve your position? Queen's trying to stay with the pawn. Rook, where does that go? Nowhere particularly useful. These guys are locked defending this one. Knight's looking a little bit dead, even though it's pseudo-aggressive. Bishop, where's it going? Not many moves. G3, the top engine one, but then takes here. Whoops, I'm really lagging up. Takes, and you lose a pawn simply. Or you can jump with the knight first. But in the game, we saw this move, going for the bishop, giving the pawn, which was duly snapped off, trying to generate that counterplay by now seizing the A file, but Gukesh calmly covers. Probably taking the bishop is now best, but it's so perilously difficult. I mean, this is a queen sacrifice line. It goes something like this. Then you check down here, bishop takes, knight recaptures, king sliding over, and after this bishop backs up and takes, you've got a weird kind of material imbalance, but black should be standing a bit better. You can challenge this strong one, open the queen. This could be used to rip open in some lines. So let's back up. This wasn't played. Instead, we saw the explosive c4, also opens up this attack, let us not forget, but it allows Gukesh to uncork an absolute brilliancy. Can you guess what he played here? So the move he played was rook takes on d2.
It's an absolute banger. It's a game changer.
And it's really a beautiful and very logical shot, because now the knight gallops in. You can already win back the exchange by force. It is a great move, but there's something so much cooler about this one.
Mushrooms.
It's knight takes on d4, and after queen takes, you win a second pawn here. This queen's got to stay with the rook, but it's not about taking. If you go for that, well, you're giving white these checkmating options down here. Counterplay, not the way to go. So in the game, we saw pawn takes on c4, and it's a monster. You can't stop it advancing to c3. This was desperately tried. Etienne whispering, do you even rook lift, bro? Don't push the pawn now or lose a piece. But after bishop d5, queen e2, attacking the pawn for a third time, it simply marches on here. This bishop backs up, creates a threat of takes, then winning a bishop, but the queen calmly covers. Yes, you could take now, but to what avail? This knight's looking trapped. The pawns are actually great defending the king. The bishops are monstrous. This is marching. It's just no good. So in the game, the pawn was blockaded here. Check was played. A little bit of tickle. Not literally, of course. They don't tend to do that over the board anymore. It got outlawed a couple years back. My camera's flashing. Hope something weird didn't just happen then. Might be doing some weird focus thing on my hand. Apologies. Was playing with the settings earlier. The king goes to the side. Queen d3 here. And now after knight h4, it asks another very uncomfortable question. How are you defending the pawn? f3 was tried. But check. King f1, knight f5, and it forced resignation. Because this is on the way. I mean, the whole position is so dead, but what to do? Say you went for a bit of counterplay stuff somewhere along the 7th rank, well then you can check, king goes, just one sample line here at how the bishops just cut that king to shreds. This is even a sample checkmate. Nice start for Gukesh D, 45 move, dismantlement with black, and have a look at the video on screen if you want to see another incredible Gukesh D game. Thanks a lot for watching and see you soon. Cheers.